What happens when Disney's most iconic princess turns into their biggest flop? Today, we're diving deep into the Snow White disaster, Rachel Zegler's public breakdown, and how this one movie may have just shifted the entire future of Disney. Buckle up. This story has bans, betrayals, and blockbuster bombs. Let's go.
And to everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Disney made the shocking decision to quietly remove Snow White from both physical shelves and digital platforms. It's as if the movie never existed. With billions invested and expectations sky high, this move stunned industry insiders. The lack of a public statement added to the mystery. Was it shame, strategy, or both? For a studio that built its legacy on princess tales, erasing a high-profile reboot signals a complete collapse of confidence. It wasn't just a business move, it was an admission of failure, and fans noticed. The silence from Disney said more than a press release ever could. Rachel Zegler's journey from breakout star to internet punching bag happened fast. Once poised as the fresh face of Disney, her press tour backfired when she criticized the original Snow White, calling it outdated and problematic. Fans felt alienated, and as box office numbers tanked, the pressure crushed her. Live streams captured her teary rants. Interviews turned defensive. What was supposed to be her career-defining moment became a meltdown. Instead of celebration, there was chaos. Instead of praise, backlash. It wasn't just a flop, it was personal. The internet turned, and Rachel found herself alone in the fallout.
Do you have a terrible audition experience?
I do. I do have a terrible audition
What is
experience.
it?
I was actually, oddly enough, auditioning for a Broadway show of a very famous Broadway musical that was having a revival, and the producers and directors were ordering lunch while I was singing.
What?
It was so
Like
horrible.
actually while you were singing a song?
Yeah.
Would
I
you-
booked
would
West
you-
Side Story a week later, though.
Theater owners across the country, contractually obligated to show Snow White, started pushing back. Audience turnout was so low that some theaters ignored their deals and pulled the film early, replacing it with anything else. Even weekend showings, a prime time for family films, were ghost towns. Operators complained directly to Disney, begging for relief, but the numbers spoke louder than the contracts. It was a mutiny in slow motion, and when independent clips of empty screenings surfaced, the public saw just how bad it had gotten. Theaters were done pretending this movie was a hit. A single fan video changed the conversation. Recorded inside a Snow White screening, the footage showed a completely empty theater. Not low turnout. We're talking ghost town. Maybe 5 people, tops. The clip exploded online, turning into a meme and proving what many had suspected. The film was dead on arrival. Critics mocked it. Audiences laughed at it. Even loyal Disney fans cringed. That one pan of empty seats said more than any critic review ever could. It wasn't just a flop, it was a cultural joke. And for Disney, it was the kind of viral attention no studio wants. Overseas, things got worse. Lebanon outright banned Snow White, pulling it from all forms of distribution. But the real blow came from Lilo and Stitch, a light-hearted re-release of the 2002 animated hit, managed to outperform Snow White's entire US box office in just one weekend. It wasn't a Marvel movie or a Disney Plus juggernaut, just a space dog and some Hawaiian vibes. That contrast exposed everything wrong with Snow White. It wasn't fun, it wasn't charming, and it wasn't wanted. Disney's most ambitious reboot had just been steamrolled by a cartoon from 2 decades ago. Disney tried to manufacture demand by releasing Snow White merchandise in limited batches. Dolls, shirts, mugs, all meant to sell out fast. But months later, shelves were still full. Retailers couldn't move the products. Discounts didn't help. Some stores even repackaged items just to get rid of them. This wasn't just about bad box office. It was about brand damage. When a Disney princess can't sell toys, something's deeply wrong. The strategy failed, the branding backfired, and now the merch sits as physical proof of a flop. Even kids, the core audience, didn't want it. Things behind the scenes weren't pretty. Gal Gadot, Zegler's co-star, avoided blaming her directly, but didn't defend her either. In interviews, she subtly pointed fingers at Disney's corporate misalignment. Meanwhile, Andrew Burnap, another major cast member, skipped the premiere and dropped out of promotional events. Rumors spread after Zegler herself told press that most of his scenes might be cut. And they were. It wasn't just awkward, it was toxic. The vibe turned from a united cast to a fragmented mess. Everyone seemed to be protecting their own image, and Rachel was left out in the cold.
It really is a story about, I think, the power of friendship and community, and the power of pure love and goodness, and how that can overcome evil. And so that sort of the larger themes of the original film still absolutely ring true in this version. And I wanted to make sure that even with Jonathan's journey, that if he is starting from a more cynical place, that he is inspired by those pure forces of good, so that he sort of looks around and says, oh no, there is still something worth fighting for. And I think Snow White gives him that. Jonathan is first and foremost a cynic. He's been taught by the world around him that you have to think about yourself, you have to survive, and that's basically it. He doesn't really have time for thinking about how to save the world around him. Whether through constantly being threatened by the Queen and the Queen's Guard, not having enough to eat, not having a home, not having clothes around him. He has to just worry about himself and his merry band of bandits. The songwriting team, they're geniuses. And when I first heard the songs I was going to be able to sing, I was intimidated, to say the least. But they're what's great about them is that they actually progress the storyline and character. So we don't just stop to sing a song. The reason these characters burst into song is because they're so filled with this complex feeling that they have to sing. She possesses this incredible childlike wonder and innocence, which I think is sort of integral to the character of Snow White, but also this self-assuredness, this confidence that she does possess the things that she needs in order to save the world.
The fallout reached future projects. Disney's planned live-action Tangled, once touted as the next billion-dollar reboot, was suddenly scrapped without explanation. Industry insiders believe it was because Rachel Zegler was in talks to play Rapunzel. After the Snow White disaster, Disney wasn't willing to take another risk on her. It wasn't just about casting, it was about audience trust. The backlash from one film killed the momentum for another, and Disney didn't even bother to release a teaser or statement. They just quietly erased Tangled, sending a clear message. Zegler was now a liability. In what was supposed to be a heartfelt moment, Rachel Zegler attended a screening of her own movie, flowers in hand, smiling for the camera. But the room was nearly empty, and when photos leaked, it became meme fuel. Captions like Snow White and the 7 empty seats spread like wildfire. Others joked she brought flowers to her own cinematic funeral. What was meant to be a personal victory lap turned into a punchline. That single image captured the entire situation: high hopes, low turnout, and the internet ready to roast it all. The entertainment industry has a short memory for success, but a long one for failure. And after Snow White, studios started quietly backing away from Rachel Zegler. Reports surfaced that she was being passed over for new projects, with casting teams hesitant to attach her name to big-budget releases. Even Disney, once her biggest champion, was said to be reevaluating future collaborations. What was once a rising star arc had turned into a warning sign. The industry isn't just moving on, it's moving around her. The big question now, can she ever bounce back? So what started as Disney's next fairy tale turned into a real-life horror story, flops, firings, and fandom backlash. What do you think? Can Rachel Zegler recover from this? Is Disney finally done with live-action remakes? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more breakdowns just like this one. Until next time, peace.